Hey everyone, Steven Taylor here, just taking a tour through my house, trying to make sure that I think I've got everything. One of the things I'd like to showcase though is our backyard. It's not the cleanest backyard in the world, but it is nonetheless our backyard. Let me see if I can do this. I don't think I can. We're gonna turn it around. Pardon my lack of IT skills. All right, sorry if I screwed that up. I didn't mean to. I'm not trying to do the reverse on the picture. Anyway, my reason for the video, sidetracked, distracted, whatever you want to call it, is success, money mindset, and all the things I've said before. But I do want to advocate and I do want to emphasize this, and it means it's the beginning of success for about anybody I've ever met, including us. If you've achieved your goals, I think that's considered success. Anyway, what I wanted to do is share with you fundamentals of success. Not exactly what you think. Fundamentals of success start with your daily routine. Most of you think that have to have some special degrees, some special skills. I got to get up, I got to do some crazy stuff that I don't really do very often, and I got to make that a habit, blah, 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 blah. Wrong answer. That isn't how you do that. How you do that is you develop a routine around your why. And you might ask, what's the why? The why is the big goal. My why, just so you have an idea. My why is my wife and I, we are going to be billionaires with a B. Notice I said my wife and I, because she's in this too. We started out 15 years ago with that same vision. Obviously, we were nowhere near that when we started, and we're not near it now, but we are climbing closer. My entire daily routine, sorry, yellow teeth. They're actually not yellow, but that's all right. My entire routine is built around our why, which is why I said your routine built around your why. So what do? I get up, take care of my daughter. I hit the range because I like to golf, and I'm getting better at it. After that, probably about an hour and a half into that, I go to my properties. So we have 2 assisted living facilities, and I do a lot of the labor on the landscaping part of it to keep the yards clean and mowed and trimmed and all the bushes cleared up, and then look for ways that we can make the residents' life a little bit better outside, especially when it starts to cool off. And then my administrator does the inside with the staff, take care of that. So between the 2 of us, this team we've got, we can get the house looking very nice. And when the compliance people come by, we aren't being graded on lack of environmental or landscaping or any of that crap. It's purely the operational piece. Then what I do is I mix in some self-development, whether it's a book, whether it's a video on, and I'm big on manifestation, and we're big on building dreams and goals. We're big on learning how to grow. For example, some people, when they have a frustrating moment, get super pissed. I mean, like super mad. I can tell you, I'm on the golf course several times and the guy makes a bad shot, right? We're not professional golfers. Nonetheless, the language is beyond what you would have in front of a little kid. I say that because when it comes down to making a mistake, or you do something wrong and you get super pissed, that's not the right answer. What that encourages, do I have my shirt on backwards? I do, don't I? Nope. What that encourages is that more mistakes. It's going to encourage you because you start talking negatively, you start bad-mouthing yourself, you start questioning everything you're doing, and pretty soon you are so much in your head you can't get out, and then you're done. And unfortunately, in this world of business, as well as sports, Once you get upstairs and you start talking nasty stuff to yourself, you got to take a deep breath. You got to relax. You have to take a step back and just look at where you're at. And maybe people are staring at you and you're like, why are they looking at me? Because you're being stupid. So, one of the things I've learned a long time ago, take a deep, deep breath before you get super pissed and realize you're not the only one that gets mad. It's how you handle it. So take a deep breath, relax, and you're like, you know what? It's really not a big deal if I made a mistake. Don't let it turn into 4 or 5 mistakes. Limit yourself to 1. If you're having a bad day and you scream at somebody, take a deep breath, walk away, come back, give them a hug and tell them you're sorry. Because you handled it wrong. You're toxic. Don't want to be around toxic people. That's why people that have toxic don't last very long. Whole point of this is find professional development throughout your day mixed in with your regular stuff you're doing that are contributing to the growth so you can accomplish your big dream, your big why. If you build your daily routine around your why every single day, when you come across a milestone that's a big, big deal that you just did, that's when you're going to feel so good about where you're headed. Years ago, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, my wife and I were driving around and we're looking at houses that were for sale. And we drove in this neighborhood, just accidentally just drove through here. Didn't even know where the hell I was. Beautiful house. It was an older home, but it was just gorgeous. They really did a good job on the front, landscaping on the back. Anyway, so we go take a tour of this house and it was like, wow, upgraded all around. It was just a really, really nice house. I think at the time it was like $480, $490. And we were, I think the house we had just bought was around $325 or so maxed out. So we, as we're building, we're trying to figure out, you know what. So my wife's like, God, wouldn't it be nice to be able to buy a house like that? Man, that's just gorgeous. It was just beautiful. Everything was upgraded. The landscaping was top of the notch. It was just, it jaw dropped you. It's like, oh my God. So I get in the car, we're ready to drive off, and I thought to myself, so if we were to sell everything, which we are not going to do that, but if we were to get things in perspective, we could take all of the stuff we had left over and we could actually buy the house outright. So I told my wife, hey, just want to let you know, this is kind of where we're at. If we were to sell everything, we could afford that house. In fact, we would pay it off. And she goes, oh my God, are you kidding me? I says, no, I'm serious. If we were to sell everything right now and liquidate, bring all the cash in, we'd actually have enough money to pay that for that house. We would buy it outright on the first day. We would never have a mortgage again. And she goes, so the things that we're doing are working. Yeah, they are working. They're just slow. But you got to have patience. And you got to have resilience. You got to be comfortable and confident. Hey, man, I got to grind this out. We're going to get there. Having said that, not everybody has to grind. They just don't. Some people have a massive advantage. Not anything you need to blame them for. It would be just like you or somebody else being born into a family that's already wealthy. I mean, it's not your fault, but you have a huge advantage and take advantage of it. Shit, Michael Jordan, considered the greatest basketball player in the entire world of basketball, history of basketball. You know, he had some skills that most people did not have. And when he started to tap into those skills and refine them and get really good, man, nobody could stop him. In fact, many people said they'd never seen a basketball player like him ever. Even the very best, like Charles Barkley, who was a really good basketball player back in his day, says, I always consider myself the best basketball player in the world until I played Michael Jordan. Then I realized, for the first time in my life, I'm having to admit, and I don't like to, but I'm going to do it anyway, I am not the best basketball. Michael Jordan is clearly the best basketball player that I've ever seen. And it's not that he worked hard and he had some gifts, but his whole routine was about being great. Am I expecting everybody to be like Michael Jordan? No. There are plenty of people, though, like him that have special skills, special gifts, special talents, and they've built their routine around that. You also have special gifts and special talents. You just have to figure out what they are. And sometimes it takes a while. I'm very good at analytical stuff. I'm also very good in the personal things, but I've learned over time throughout my career, even in the military, as I retired, I have to keep my center of influence extremely small because those people are helping me get me to where I am, but I appreciate everybody that I have an association with. I've got some close friends of mine that I've known for 30 plus years, and I'm telling you, they have been my mentors. They have been great friends, and I consider them part of my center of influence, and I would not be here without them. Every time I see these individuals, I tell them how much I appreciate them and how much I care about them, and I don't spend a lot of time with them because we're just awful busy and traveling and whatnot. But from my heart to theirs, I want them to know how valuable they are to me. And that's how I look at that. So every day, your routine, be grateful. Be thankful for where you're at. I don't care if you're young or old. Be thankful and grateful for where you're at because you could be worse. A little tidbit on me when I was a kid, 5, 6, 7 years old. I didn't live like I'm living like now. I lived in a trailer park. My parents were divorced. I lived down in the South, Texas and Southern California. Moved 18 times in about 12 months. I barely had any clothes. I went to school without underwear sometimes. We didn't have the best nutrition in the world. And when my sister was in the hospital, my dad flew down to my mother's family, told him he should come down and get me out of there. So he did. He brought down a one-way plane ticket. At 7 years of age, I am flying back to where I am at now here in Idaho from Texas. And I had to pray to God that I was never going to go back there. And I will do everything in my power not to live that kind of life ever. And I will never have a child grow up in this world like that. So for the last 52, 53 years, that's what I've been doing. My whole daily routine is built around going where we want to go. So we have several properties. We have 3 or 4 businesses lined up. I work hard because I'm trying to create this life with her, my wife, that we can travel whenever we want without worrying about finances. I want to build a business that's scale enough. So the next step we're doing is we're going in multifamily, and it's going to create a life of financial freedom. We're there now. We're just not where we want to be. And I'm okay with that. I'm not upset with it. We're working one day at a time. So our daily routine is built on that. That's why I say, find a routine that is in line with your why. Put the things that you have to do to contribute to that. It could be schooling. It could be, going to a class on certain behaviors. It could be a financial thing. It could be working out. It can be kids. I mean, whatever it is that's going to help you get you to where you want to go, that's what you want. The other part of this, you never, ever, ever, and I know someone's going to do this, never, ever, ever put something in your daily routine that has nothing to do with your why. Period. And I say that because it'll slow you down. In fact, I can tell you, when I went to school years ago, college, in fact, it was funny to watch kids come in. You could always tell the kids that were there just to be there and not there for academics. Because after the end of the semester, everybody's going home after their finals were over, you take off, and then you come back, and those group of kids would be gone. A new group would come in. And you could see this over and over and over again. It's like, dude, this is stupid. They're just hanging out. They're wasting the money hanging out. Don't do that if you're looking at a why. If you're seriously wanting to grow, develop, and accomplish some high-level things in your life, your daily routine has to have things in it that are contributing to that. And if someone says, hey, let's do this, and it does have nothing to do with your routine, you saying, no, not doing that. I don't have time to do that. I do it all the time. If it's like, I'm going to take a time out and go hang out with some friends, different story, but that's once in a while. That isn't every day. For me, I go to the range every morning because it lets me reset my mind, gets me back on track to what I'm trying to do. I review my day ahead of me, make sure I'm good to go, and I have a time limit on the range. I don't just go there for 3 hours. I go there for about an hour and a half tops. I hit every club in my bag. I go to the pitching range, putting range, and then I'm gone. And I do that 3 or 4 times a week. Probably 4, and then I play, And it doesn't take away from me growing and developing our business and me getting better as a person. I don't get mad. I mean, I get mad, but I'm not going to show you I'm mad. I want to be calm, relaxed, thoughts are kicking in, and I want to be able to absorb the bad experience that just happened, and I want to think about what happened. And if someone says, what do you think? What's going on? I say, well, let me think about that for a minute. Take a step back versus getting mad. If you get mad, if you go from 0, which is calm as hell, to mad, which is like violent, in a matter of seconds, you have an anger problem. You have an anger problem, you got to get it fixed. Period. There's no reason to go that fast. You need to take a step back, relax, slow down. Okay, I'm good. I don't mean to lecture you, anybody. I don't want to do that. I want to give you tidbits and get your mind thinking on the right track. Money mindset, success mindset. I've got to get myself in the right mindset to be successful. And when things come along in my life that take away from that, I got to say no. When things add value to my life and help me get there, I say yes. And sometimes you're going to gain friends, and sometimes you're going to lose friends. That's just the way it is, man. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I know this is long. I'm sorry, but I wanted to share this with you. It's been on my mind for the last several days. Daily routines have got to include everything that you're trying to strive for down the road. It's like an investment vehicle. You're investing in your day every single day that's going to pay off at the end of the tunnel when you get to your goals. And if you never get there, it's probably because your goal was too big. But if you're not getting there and it's not because of that, it's because you're distracted, that's on you. You know, you may be poor. Let's say you're poor. All right? If you're poor, there's no excuse. You know you're poor. Now your goal, your objective is to get the hell out of being poor and start working on being wealthy or success. And you can do that. You just have to work a little bit harder. But you can do it. But if you hold back, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, crap, so what? Not everybody has it perfect. But we all seem to manage to get forward. Anyway, comments, you can bash me all you want. That's fine. I've got experience to back me up. I've got 29 years in the military, retired as an E9 or a chief in the Air Force. So you want to bash me, go ahead and bash me. I've heard it, seen it. I've been there, done that, and I'm okay with that. If you don't like it, I'm okay with that too. I just hope you're doing better than me. And if you are, I'm going to learn from you. I'm going to flip it upside down and learn from you, because I don't get mad. I'm like, whoa, you're okay. So I'm wrong. I got it. What are you doing that's right? Thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.